everybody.
Welcome to another episode of Off-Road with the Abrams. This is episode 12, and we're very happy for anybody joining in to watch this later on.
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody probably is dialed into the stream yet, but we're happy to be here. And this is the most professional and tech savvy show that I in the universe, and we're just really great.
We're just great tech folk. We're great tech folk,
and so we're here for another tech perfect episode.
And in light of that, to talk about absolute sheer perfection when it comes to tech and humanity, bridging the gap. I've got a Darth Vader mug here, which, across the galaxy a long time ago,
yes.
Because Star Wars is a true story. It happened. All that stuff happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, obviously.
Yes,
there was this guy named Anakin who became Darth Vader and basically almost died, but technology saved his life, James. And so I think that's a moral of the story, that us getting our tech stuff together, it's the best thing that'll ever happen to us.
Well, I'll tell you what, this week I was very happy to get an AC unit installed because of how hot it's been.
You needed that.
I'll tell you what, I know we talk about weather most weeks, and it's very old. So I don't know if this is derogatory yet, but boomer of us.
Very boomer of us. So very retreaded tires to go after the weather every week.
Yeah, the most small talk of small talk. But anyways, AC, I got that installed, and it is fantastic. I have to say, my house is chilled now to about 70 degrees. And I could go below, but I think that's probably reasonable.
It's reasonable.
In the basement, it's freezing. And then it just kind of, because it's a couple of floors, it goes gradually up, and it's kind of.
So is it more even than Lower Union Street? And I would give everybody context. When James and I lived together in downtown Kingston. I probably
wouldn't say where we used to live, but that's fine.
Okay, no. Well, when we used to live in Kingston.
You are confused.
I'm not.
You are very.
Doesn't matter. We don't live there
very
anymore.
Open on the internet.
We don't live
I know,
there
but you, John, and very boomer.
Very boomer.
Very open.
Yeah, very open. By the way,
here's
my password. Here's my password for.
Well, last week we basically said the names of our accounts. But actually, in all seriousness, we don't take that stuff lightly, because we have had actually some terrible issues with people fraudulently trying to pretend to be us
creating accounts and trying to get
I keep having messages. I appreciate anybody who, we've talked about this before, who reports
report them. If it doesn't have the blue check mark,
I feel bad, because actually I think somehow these people, I thought somebody maybe was doing it as like a joke, but then I think some people, like, they're asking for
oh my goodness,
to get funds or something. So I don't know why somebody would target us. I mean, we try our best, but we don't have that many followers.
No, spend your time on Maren Morris.
But maybe they target the people.
I think they do,
with the smaller amounts of followers, and they think that it's less professionally run or something.
Yeah.
I think that they could hack in,
Well, I can see that. That makes sense. Like, they think that we're maybe more accessible.
More accessible.
Like, because Maren Morris is I would say less accessible.
Because we are. It's nice. We are verified with the little amount of followers that we have.
Yeah.
And maybe they assume that that smaller verified people have more of a direct.
Be really careful. But so anyway, what I was about to say was where we used to live in downtown Kingston, and I'll leave it at that. We lived in a row house. I think that's safe to say. And it was very unevenly air conditioned, to the point where downstairs you could, James would be sweltering upstairs on the third floor, like sweltering hot. And we'd have the AC running as cold as we could. And then downstairs you could literally hang meat. It was that cold. Yeah. Like the discrepancy between floors was so
that's
bad.
What it's like in my basement.
In your basement. Like, you could have
that's where I hang out a lot.
Little butcher shop down there.
Oh, it's cold.
Yeah.
Nice. And
I like
speaking, we mentioned Linda last week, I believe. And
yay, Linda's back.
She's back. She said, too cold, 74 is better. I think you're probably right. John and I keep things.
Yeah, but you know what, Linda? I always have this conversation with my wife, Alex, because she is always cold. And I am always sort of on the warmer side of the spectrum, so I need it to be colder to be comfortable. And I there's definitely a biological component to that.
I have heard that you sleep better when it's cold.
Well, yeah, bundle up. That's kind of the deal, right? Yeah. So 74 isn't bad, but
Elisa said, sorry, John. 74 is not bad. Yeah.
Okay.
Lisa
I'm
says,
done.
"Hey guys,"
Yeah.
she says, "Hope you had a good weekend." Thank you. I hope you had a great weekend as well. Amy says, "Hey guys, can't stick around tonight, but hope you guys are well. Message me if you ever need prayer." That's fantastic. Thank you for at least writing a message, Amy, and hope you're able to get a good night's sleep tonight. I know it's late there. Thanks for at least sending a message. We really appreciate your support.
Now, wait a minute. Linda Robb says, okay, Linda, we should have called you years ago. She said, the best thing about air conditioning is that it removes the humidity from the house. Yes, that's true. I knew that. But close up the vents in the basement and it forces the air up. See, I don't have air conditioning in this house now, so I can't even use that great advice.
Okay, I'll use that.
There you go.
Because it is too cold, Linda. So.
There you go.
We got Akeem in here asking our week, and Nico in here.
Nico's back. Sweet.
And let's keep this going. I put a picture on our Instagram. We gotta get more polished on that Instagram, man. We gotta get the.
We do.
You know.
We gotta post a little more often.
But anyways, I did post a story. I'm
not good with the duck face selfie.
I think, well, I'm gonna speak for myself. I feel a little out of touch with some of the new, but we got to try a little better. I'm probably not going to get TikTok.
We got some project. I did download TikTok.
Yeah, well, there's
we're not on TikTok.
Let's not talk about that. But there's controversy with that app, and folks know that, and it might get shut down. I'm not sure, but if it doesn't get shut down and there's right things in place, I might jump on that. We don't have any opinions either way on that.
We're going to reserve our opinions
or deny that. Now we got.
But we do like Instagram. It is a nice opportunity to stay connected too.
Yeah. So we got to get better at that. I posted a picture of being down by the river. And which river, you might ask? It's the St. Lawrence River.
The big one.
The big one, the big Canadian one.
Giant one.
And the giant one.
It's kind of like a string of lakes.
Actually, the river where there was two boats that ran into each other not that long ago. Wait. Did you see that story?
No.
Like the
big size, the size of the St. Lawrence River.
They literally, and not like they were passing each other and they happened to like just touch.
Are you kidding?
They went nose to nose.
You could literally miss a boat by a mile on the St. Lawrence River.
It must have been one of those old situations where, like when you're walking down the sidewalk and you go left, they go left, you go, and you keep going. Worst. It is actually one of the worst things.
It's a bit of a dilemma. There's no fix to that either.
Especially now in coronavirus time. Getting in someone's 6 foot bubble.
Yeah, but now you're like doing that, but you're like 12 feet apart.
Or no, you're on opposite sides of the street.
Yeah. You can't get by each other on opposite sides of the street.
Yeah, that's almost like something that would be in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I have.
Humor. Is that what you're saying? You have such good humor.
Oh, sorry. Linda corrects me. That was the Welland Canal. Was that?
Oh, Welland Canal. Okay.
My apologies.
Well, smaller than the St. Lawrence.
My apologies.
Well,
fact check. Linda, we need you as a fact check.
Linda was our teacher.
That's what happens these days.
That's why we need her.
So, and I posted a picture, and I thought I could pull up a little picture of it. It was pretty beautiful. I did get some responses.
What, the boat crash?
No. This picture of me where I was sitting on the deck.
That's really morbid, James.
I'll tell you, people nicely respond. We really appreciate the responses because then I know like it's not like the worst post, So if people can remember that, wasn't that beautiful?
Look at those Adirondack chairs.
Yeah,
those are so nice.
And
are those the wood kind or the plastic?
Sorry, so the connection with the boats. The only reason I brought the boats up hitting each other is because I was told that the same boats that go by here in the St. Lawrence, which they go by all the time, and it's really a cool part of this cottage that I go to. They're the same boats that I guess they got involved in that crash, which is a terrible event. But so then in my head, I guess I processed and assumed that it was in St. Lawrence, but thank you, Linda, for correcting me. What do you think about that shot, John? It's pretty nice.
I think it's lovely. I think it's a nice sunset. I think you've got a good, a good composition there. You're just a little bit, you got a bit of a touch on the edge of the frame to the right, which I probably wouldn't have done. But as far as
it's called rule of thirds, John. Look it up. Okay. Yeah. So
I did take photography class in high school. Did you?
We both did.
You did too?
Yeah. I did.
Oh, I didn't know you did.
Yeah, it was a good class.
It was a good class. Miss Paddle was our teacher. She was awesome.
So anyways, I went swimming I went swimming before the AC was installed just to take the edge off, you know? So that's what I did this past week.
Nice.
And I got the AC installed. So what about you, John? I know that you
gonna-
have maybe a
okay.
reveal here.
I'm going to take you out because I've been wanting to show you progress on the deck for weeks,
Yeah.
but now thankfully it's actually done.
Yeah.
Save for like 2 pieces here and there that
All right.
you wouldn't notice. So I'm going to
Let's
go
go
out
on a,
and
let's
show
go on a
everything.
field trip.
Okay, we're going on a field trip with John to go get the deck going here.
All right, and I'll hold things down here, bud. James, all alone. What should I tell? Tell some ghost stories? There he is. No time for ghost stories. All right, I can see you, and I'm just gonna make sure I can hear you.
What's going on? Can you hear me? Can you
How's
hear
it
me?
going? Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm good. I'm good since I left you 5 seconds ago.
Fantastic.
All right.
I was gonna tell some ghost stories, but there wasn't enough time.
Here's what we got. You're gonna tell ghost stories? How does that
Yeah.
connect? Okay, wait. Hey, check this out.
It doesn't.
Check this out. I'm really happy with this deck. All right. Really
Wow.
happy. I've never built a deck before in my life.
And John did that, if everybody can believe that.
I did this, but I will say, a lot of the stuff that I learned building guitars with Pop, and also just working in the wood shop, both at high school and when I was a kid at Nan and Pop's place. I kind of just pulled together a lot of that stuff. And believe it or not, and this is actually pretty great that Linda Robb, our math teacher one of our math teachers from LaSalle High School is on here. I actually used what I learned in high school from trigonometry, geometry, and like algebra in order to build this deck. And that was what actually, I didn't watch a single YouTube video. I did
That's awesome.
high school math and wood shop skills, put them together. So for anybody out there who's gonna do math, and they're kind of going, oh, what am I gonna use this for? Building decks, that's what you use it for right there. So all those angles, that was all trig, all that stuff. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's feeling
Great
good. We got to
job,
scan
John.
it yet, but anyway, I will see you in a minute. I'll come back in.
All right. All right. Looking at the chat here. Nico's looking for an old CD of ours. I'm sure at some point, Nico, yeah, we could. I'm assuming maybe it's that first record that we have. We don't really have those for sale anymore, but we can chat about that, I guess, for sure at some point. Lisa says, I saw that on Instagram. It looks so beautiful. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Lisa. Linda says, yes, they would be. Shipping lane is on the other side of Wolf and Howe Island.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. So they would be pretty narrow over there, I would think.
Yeah. Eliza says the deck looks really great. So there you go.
Thanks, Eliza. Appreciate that. That's
Linda
so good.
says any of the trades use math.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And that's the thing. That's the thing you got to remember, because I'm speaking to myself as well here, that in terms of selling math to young people, what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, math is just involved in everything. And, there's that common thing where people think that, oh, when am I going to use this? You know what I mean? But there is a lot of, there's a lot of instances where you're going to use it. And I think actually they are implementing some new accounting and stuff in schools coming up. I don't know if that,
learning about taxes.
I don't know
would be
how
good.
teachers are
Learning about taxes would be good.
Yeah, I don't know how teachers are perceiving the new stuff, but I think that some of that practical stuff about home expenses and whatever is probably a great thing for people to learn.
It's interesting because Alex's friend Shannon, our friend Shannon.
So it's a good sales pitch, is my point.
Shannon, she teaches over in Ireland, in Dublin right now. She's from Sydenham, Ontario originally. And Shannon was actually talking to me on FaceTime because I was showing her the deck. And she said, because she teaches math and science, right? And she was saying, I'm going to actually start, instead of, when it comes to geometry and doing angles and stuff like that for questions on assignments and practice take-home stuff, just doing like the height of a tree and the angle of a tree with the height of it and kind of creating the hypotenuse.
You can visualize it.
She's like, the kids are not really tuned. They don't really care. But if she said, someday if you want to build a deck, then she'll create a word problem out of it.
I thought the tree was pretty good, actually.
Well, the tree here's kind of neat. But she's like, instead of just having lines, like actually building word problems saying, someday if you want to build a deck, here's kind of a problem you might run into, solve it for me. And the kids are actually
sort of visualization in the real world, I think is a lot better than just having lines on a page.
Yeah, and that's why I like physics, because a lot of it was real world application.
That's true. It's
math.
Applied. It's applied
for
stuff.
sure.
But even some of the abstract stuff, if you're able to show examples of how things are applied and how it enriches your life,
I think
that's the right way to put it, John.
Yeah, how it helps you. Tools to help you, right? So that's what I did.
Yeah. Well, speaking of math and your deck building, it really segues great with how we used to sleep in completely random places on the road.
There's no segue.
There's no segue.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so this is something we want to chat about today.
We wanted to talk about that. I don't know why it popped into my head, but I remember thinking about some of because this podcast is called Off Road with the Abrams, and
so there's we sprinkle in little road stories of what happened
or stuff that doesn't happen on stage, right?
And then it gives us leeway to literally take, speaking of math, a tangent and go off
there's your
into
segue.
the woods, visualization of the trees,
yeah.
and go off and talk about whatever we want. But we wrap it back around to road stories because I think people, are probably interested in, because it's kind of unique to travel around and play music, and there's lots of weird situations you can find yourself in.
Absolutely.
So
we have a couple good ones. We do have a couple good stories.
Yeah. So one weird thing that happens on the road, and it kind of to our as a result of our own doing, but on certain tours, and especially, a few years ago, we'd want to keep overhead low, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Well, and you always, when you're out on the road,
like any business,
the thing about playing music on the road, and this is something that a lot of people have asked me about, is they think, like you're playing on stage, things just must go smoothly if you've done it this many times now. And sure, when it comes to playing the music, like James and I have played our show and a lot of the songs a lot of the time, but it's all the technical stuff and all the actual transportation stuff that's really where it gets difficult sometimes, and also really expensive. I mean, when you're flying a whole band around the world in order to be able to tour and play, I mean, that's like, it really gets, very high overhead business. Right. And so sometimes when James and I were on tours where, like, let's just be honest, we were making less per show for certain tours, we kind of think, okay, how can we strip this down? And sometimes the venues are smaller or different venues. How can we change this up so that we're not necessarily playing and having to, take the bus out or take, jets everywhere? We don't have our own private jet, by the way, but take,
Fortunately, we have the bus up and going now to a degree where
and we drive it ourselves. That helps because we drive ourselves. But on this particular tour, we were, it was just, we could only play as a duo for that tour. And so James and I were driving around in an SUV. We talked about that, I think last week or the week before, about piling the food in the back and keeping ourselves nourished with the stuff we'd get backstage.
Speaking of, the whole time I was doing school stuff in the truck.
You were. James was sitting in the front seat and he was doing like biology,
psych or bio or something.
And so I remember one night, we kind of, on this trip, we thought, instead of staying at hotels every single night, we kind of rough it a little bit. Some nights, not usually nights before we would play a show, but if we had a string of a couple of days off, we'd go camping for those days off instead, which was fun. But sometimes we'd be driving it. And I remember this one time we were out in the middle of nowhere. Can't even remember which state we were in, but it was the middle of nowhere. And we were really tired. And, when you're tired, pull over, like, don't try and push it. Right. So we thought, hey, we got the tent in the back. But
we'd always bring a tent with us.
Unfortunately, there was literally nowhere, no rest stops that we were able to find, and we were getting really tired. So we found this random propane tank, those big, long propane tanks, right, on the side of the road. And we didn't even know if it was private property or not. And we thought,
I figured it was municipal.
I figured that. I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could have been somebody's propane tank on a farm.
Guess. Could have been.
But anyway, so we kind of took our chances, pulled over, parked the car, the vehicle behind the propane tank, and set up our tent back there.
Yeah.
Like just, a bunch of ruffians on the road kind of deal. And the whole night I'm thinking, man, I hope nobody catches us here. And sure enough, at like 5 a.m., I wake up to the sound. I think you woke up too, dude.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Woke up to the sound of like a truck rolling in, and they had their high beams right on our tent, and they could probably see the shadows of us stirring in the tent, like what's going on. And I could hear some mumbling, some in the truck, and I thought, oh my gosh, we've been caught, right? And then they peeled out of there, and I thought, oh,
like they were gonna go try to get somebody
try and
else
get somebody else or whatever. And I remember thinking, okay, we've got like a small window of time here to strip down our camp. And of course, James and I had like the cooking stuff set up because we made dinner the night before. We had like more than just the tent set up, right? We got out of there fast. I've never taken a tent down faster than that.
We got out of there,
and we did. So that was a weird place to definitely sleep. Like think right.
Yeah,
on
a lot more weird than another place that we've stayed a lot of the time. And for anybody that, I'm sure lots of people know this, but the Walmart parking lots are a spot that people can tent, park their RV, stay, and often a lot of them, the superstores are 24 hours. And obviously we like to support small businesses in the towns.
Which we do.
But we also go to Walmart, and
at 3 a.m. it's tough to argue with Walmart at that point,
and,
like when you're desperate.
Yeah, you've been out for too long when Walmart is like the most familiar.
It's like an
thing.
oasis on the pavement.
Yeah.
When you get.
And so, anyways, that's the last one that we have stayed at, which was really weird.
And one talk about small businesses. I remember this town, Yankton, South Dakota, actually had a lot of really cool small businesses, and we went to a hardware store to try and fix the GMC logo on the front of the SUV in Yankton, South Dakota.
Yeah.
And so we played this gig, right? And it's actually perfect because I just watched the new sequel, Dr. Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining that came out, I think, like last year or something, starring Ewan McGregor. And I'm a big fan of Stanley Kubrick as a director and The Shining, so I wanted to see this movie, Dr. Sleep, and it kind of goes back to the Overlook Hotel and gets back into that stuff. The Overlook Hotel being the famous like haunted hotel in The Shining initially that drives Jack Nicholson's character crazy. And anyway, this hotel we were staying in Yankton, South Dakota, was this beautiful old historic hotel in the middle of town, right? And we were staying there because that's where the gig was putting up for the night. Remember, James? And we thought, okay, great. We're going to go over to the hotel, stay at a historic place. This is really cool. After the gig was done, we pack up. Town's pretty quiet. Drive down there, and we go to the front door. It's locked, and there's a little sign that says "Go around back." And so we walk around back, and there's a door just creaked open, right? And I thought, this is weird. Like, there's nobody here. There was nobody at the front desk of the hotel. It was empty, okay? So I called the person. They said, just here's a number. And so I called the person who actually owned the place, and they said, oh, yeah, I know, it's just you guys there tonight. But when they said just you guys, they meant like not us and no other guests. They meant us, no other guests, and no staff, no cleaning staff, no anything. It was an empty, massive 4-story historic hotel. James had one presidential suite at one end of the 4th floor. I had the other presidential suite or whatever.
We'd open our doors and we could literally, like, John it was quite a ways down, and he was just like a little shadow in the dark.
And I'll tell you what, we heard every creak and wind gust to that hotel that night, because it was the freakiest thing we have ever done to stay in this empty hotel. And it
was actually kind of pretty nice though.
Beautiful hotel, like they absolutely gorgeous.
Redone it pretty recently.
Yeah, it was lovely. But
to be the only
definitely
ones,
felt like The Shining for sure.
That was weird. Sure. Absolutely.
But we survived that night. It was way too much space. You know what? There's nothing more eerie than being in a hotel that's completely empty and having way too much space. Like that's
I don't know why there was no one else.
I don't know. It was just empty.
Like that as a business model, I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, think about heating that or air conditioning that place.
Well, was that sort of the town where actually in the town I felt like we saw more police than people.
That's right. Same town. There were very few people, and
they must have.
It was probably off season. I think it was probably off season because it was middle of it was kind of the winter a little bit, like late fall.
Lisa says, I would have been scared being in a hotel all by myself.
Oh yeah,
same.
It's weird.
Linda said, "Ha, a tangent, good one."
Yeah.
So she liked it. Yeah.
On a tangent.
Speaking of, we spoke about him last week, but Mr. Mackay.
Yeah.
He was one of the kings of puns.
Master of puns and tangents. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So good.
Anyways, we got a ton of stuff to get through in our last
kind of a math and science episode this
well, why don't we go and dive right into that video that you found this week, John?
Yeah, I really, what was really cool, you can pull up the article if you want, or we can just talk about it and then watch the video. But this week, I think the news came out today that there was a team of scientists. There has been a team of scientists, mostly based out of New Mexico, that have finally, after 20 years of work, been able to put together the most comprehensive map of the entire universe, which is, if anybody has ever kind of got lost in the wormhole of videos online and sort of realized how absolutely incredibly massive beyond comprehension the universe is, it's just staggering. And it actually kind of, it actually kind of makes you think about your life way differently when you think about it. So they've been able to put together this map, and what's so cool about the map is that it's all different colors, because the only way that we can map the universe is by sending light particles out long distances, basically. I mean, this is a layman's understanding of it. I do try and educate myself about this because I like it, but to put it really simply, the red rings are on the farthest edge of the map, because that's what's called the redshift. So the further waves travel, they shift on the spectrum of color toward red. And so that's what shows us the distances of the universe. So it's a really cool map. But here's the thing that I thought immediately was, because I saw this great video.
I don't see it here.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Just we'll watch the video. I just want to tell a story about what happened.
Is this the video here?
This is the video, but what I was going to say.
44 seconds?
Let me see. No, is that the, oh no, it's the, you
didn't give me the right link.
Just go to the limits of humanity.
You're not spelling it right.
And then spell that. There it is. Okay, there it is.
Okay.
So I thought, oh, great, we got
great link, John.
No, thanks. One technical link. Great, we've got a map of the universe, but even if we could travel the speed of light, we couldn't actually reach a lot of other neighboring local groups of galaxies for this reason. And it's a 7-minute video, a little bit heady, but it's done a good job of kind of explaining it. And so
I haven't watched it, so I'm assuming John picked something that's entertaining.
I actually really like these videos. They're actually a lot of fun. Okay. And bear with us, hang in there.
You're gonna get the sympathy now.
Hang in there and watch it with us. And you know,
we'll talk about it after. Put your headphones in. Let's get down to business here.
So this is why a map of the universe is cool, but probably we don't need it for any kind of travel.
Thanks for being here, Wolves. We appreciate it.
Right on.
All right.
Is there a border we will never cross? Are there places we will never reach, no matter how hard we try? Turns out there are. Even with science fiction technology, we are trapped in our pocket of the universe. How can that be? And how far can we go? We live in a quiet arm of the Milky Way, a spiral galaxy of average size, about 100,000 light-years across, consisting of billions of stars, gas clouds, dark matter, black holes, neutron stars, and planets, with a supermassive black hole in the galactic center. From afar, our galaxy seems dense, but in reality, it consists mostly of empty space. With our current technology, sending a human to the closest star would take thousands of years. So our galaxy is pretty big. The Milky Way is not alone though. Along with the Andromeda Galaxy and more than 50 dwarf galaxies, it's part of the Local Group, a region of space about 10 million light-years in diameter. It is one of hundreds of galaxy groups in the Laniakea supercluster, which itself is only one of millions of superclusters that make up the observable universe. Now, let's assume for a moment that we have a glorious future. Humanity becomes a Type 3 civilization, does not get wiped out.
I remember being in Washington at the Washington Mall, you know, with all the museums. Right. And we went in, we watched a documentary with narrated by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, it's a good one.
And that one, like this right here, I kind of left.
Blows your mind.
And like after I watched Groundhog Day, I'm putting in John speak. This is where you're talking movies. Like when I left Groundhog Day, like my mind wasn't right.
Yeah, it really throws your mind off. It really does.
By aliens and develops interstellar travel based on our current understanding of physics.
Okay.
In this best case scenario, how far could we possibly go? Well, the local group. It is the biggest structure that humanity will ever be a part of. While it is certainly huge, the local group accounts for only 0.00000000001% of the observable universe.
That's all we can travel.
Let this number sink in for a moment. We are limited to 100 billionth of a percent of the observable universe. The simple fact that there is actually a limit for us and that there is so much universe that we will never be able to touch is kind of frightening. Why can't we go further? Well, it all has to do with the nature of nothing. Nothing, or empty space, isn't empty but has energy intrinsic to itself, so-called quantum fluctuations. On the smallest scale, there is constant action, particles and antiparticles appearing and annihilating themselves. You can imagine this quantum vacuum as a bubbling pot with denser and less dense regions. Now, let's go back 13.8 billion years when the fabric of space consisted of nothing at all. Right after the Big Bang, in an event known as cosmic inflation, the observable universe expanded from the size of a marble to trillions of kilometers in fractions of a second. This sudden stretching of the universe was so fast and extreme that all those quantum fluctuations were stretched as well, and subatomic distances became galactic distances, with dense and less dense regions. After inflation, gravity began to pull everything back together. At the largest scale, the expansion was too quick and powerful to overcome, but at smaller scales, gravity emerged victorious. So over time, the denser regions or pockets of the universe grew into groups of galaxies like the one we live in today. Only stuff inside our pocket, the local group, is bound to us gravitationally. But wait, what's the problem then? Why can't we travel from our pocket to the next one? Here, dark energy makes everything complicated. About 6 billion years ago, dark energy took over. It's basically an invisible force or effect that causes and speeds up the expansion of the universe. We don't know why or what dark energy is, but we can observe its effect clearly. In the early universe, there were larger cold spots around the local group that grew into large clusters with thousands of galaxies. We are surrounded by a lot of stuff. But none of those structures and galaxies outside of the local group are gravitationally bound to us. So the more the universe expands, the larger the distance between us and other gravitational pockets becomes. Over time, dark energy will push the rest of the universe away from us, causing all the other clusters, galaxies, and groups to eventually become unreachable. The next galaxy group is already millions of light years away, but all of them are moving away from us at speeds we can't ever hope to match. We could leave the local group and fly through intergalactic space into the darkness, but we would never arrive anywhere. While we will become more and more stranded, the local group will become more tightly bound and merge together to form one giant elliptical galaxy with the unoriginal name Milkdromeda in a few billion years. But it becomes even more depressing. At some point, the galaxies outside the local group will be so far away that they will be too faint to detect, and the few photons that do make it to us will be shifted to such long wavelengths that they'll be undetectable.
We won't be able to see them.
Once this happens, no information outside of the local group will be able to reach us. The universe will recede from view. It will appear to be dark and empty in all directions forever. A being born in the far future in Milkdromeda will think there is nothing but its own galaxy in the entire universe. When they look far into empty space, they will only see more emptiness and darkness. They won't be able to see cosmic background radiation, and they won't be able to learn about the Big Bang. They will have no way of knowing what we know today, the nature of the expanding universe, when it began, and how it will end. They will think the universe is static and eternal. Milkdrometer will be an island in the darkness, slowly getting darker and darker. Still, with its trillion stars, the local group is certainly large enough for humanity. After all, we still haven't figured out how to leave our solar system, and we have billions of years to explore our galaxy. We have the incredible luck to exist at the perfect moment in time to see not only our future, but also our most distant past. As isolated and remote as the local group is, we can perceive the entire universe, grand and spectacular, as it is right now.
That's awesome.
This video was
So the
sponsored
moral
by
of the story here is that the
squarespace.com/nutshell.
fact that they were able
Do you
to do
feel
that,
isolated in a human?
that just shows you how James has lost his mind. You lost your mind. I know. I already saw it. So there you go. All right, flip us back here. But no, so I want to show you that video because that's actually what makes this little bit of, in other news, because, we're so consumed with all the coronavirus news and the kind of the political upheaval news that's going on right now. It's definitely stuff that we have to talk about. But at the same time, right there, bud? Right there. But at the same time, the fact that these scientists were able to come together over the last 20 years and get a full map of the universe, this moment in time, now, mind you, it's going to be, billions of years before we can't anymore, but this moment in time, we can actually observe the entire universe, but that won't be the case forever because the universe is expanding so quickly away from itself that our little pocket here in the universe will be too far away to be able to see anything else. And so, like they said in the video, we'll only be able to observe our own galaxy rather than anything else. So that, I gotta say, that's 20 years hard work. And that's pretty cool. So, I love the fact that we are living in arguably kind of the best time in the observable universe right now to be able to get to experience it.
In other news, there's a new Ford Bronco.
Oh, that is.
Has anybody seen this?
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah.
Ford brought back the Bronco from the 80s.
So important. No, actually though, I am excited about the Ford Bronco.
Yeah,
because
it looks sweet. It's
I'm excited about the 4-door version.
Everything that we're saying right now seems so insignificant.
It seems so
we should have ended on
insignificant.
this. We should have ended on this.
No. We kind of got to bring it back down to earth. So
I thought it was exciting because
bring it down to earth
because it's a truck.
Because it's a country music truck. But the Ford Bronco was a pretty sweet ride for a long time. Ended in 1996.
And I think people are wanting trucks these days.
Yeah.
Good for Ford.
All
right.
But good for Ford on the Ford Bronco.
No,
I have been waiting for years.
It was big news on Twitter.
It was big news.
It makes Twitter not seem like anything, though.
You know what's cool about the Ford Bronco? And again, so insignificant compared to the rest of the universe that we were just talking about.
You can take all the doors and roof off.
You can take the doors and roof off like a Jeep, though. But
yeah, so they're going to compete with Jeep.
Yeah, no, but Jeeps can't store them in the back component of the vehicle, whereas with the new Ford Bronco, you can take them off and neatly store them in the back, so you don't have to leave them at home. You can actually take them off while you're out on the road and put them in the back.
Wow. No, it's a slick ride.
Yeah. Won't take us to the next local group in our universe, though.
No. Now, last week we talked about another amazing product and a revolutionary Crystal Pepsi.
Oh yeah.
So for anybody
we got to touch on
interested,
Crystal Pepsi.
For anybody that was interested, I found a video that explained why it didn't succeed. Because in the video they were so sure of it. Like they had these testimonials, fake testimonials.
This is the greatest thing.
It's the best taste. It's blah blah blah. Of course, every company, every product does that. But this did a nice little succinct breakdown of why it failed. And also there's a bit of a controversy with Coke having apparently sabotaged their plans on rolling this out.
No way.
Which,
whoa.
It's that back and forth between those two
Pepsi
companies.
war.
The back and forth between those two companies is pretty vicious. So I'm going to pull this video up and
That's wild.
Let's enjoy it together.
Okay, I did love how confident they were about the success of this brand last time. I really.
Well, and there was one guy, I didn't know if we got to it. There was one guy that was so clearly reading from a thing, and he's like, I love Crystal Pepsi. It is so amazing. And he's
absolutely
like literally
revolutionary.
nodding his head.
It is like no other soft drink that has come before it. And
So let's share this.
Oh, they're pushing it.
Failed is a weird one, involving stubborn executives, vague marketing, Van Halen, and a bit of corporate sabotage. It might not have ruled the 1990s soda market like Pepsi intended, but the story of this failed soda is anything but boring. Here's why Crystal Pepsi was a total flop the first time around. Mind games. Crystal Pepsi was doomed from the beginning according to a theory from Tristan Donovan, author of Fizz, How Soda Shook Up the World. Donovan says because both Pepsi and Coca-Cola trained their consumers since the 19th century to associate brown soda with cola flavor, launching a clear cola in 1992 was too much of a sensory disruption. Clear soda later became associated with a lighter, citrus flavor thanks to the popularity of 7-Up and Sprite, so a cola-flavored clear soda just felt off. But it wasn't just the color. Flavor fail. Now retired Crystal Pepsi creator David Novak talked to Business Insider about just what went wrong with the product and made a fascinating admission. If he had just listened to his staff, it might have stayed on the shelves instead of being discontinued in 1995. He pitched the idea for Crystal Pepsi in '92, the same year he took over as Pepsi's COO, hoping to cash in on the rising popularity of pure products.
Crystal clear, Amoco Ultimate.
But it didn't taste much like original Pepsi. Novak recalled, "The bottlers told me, David, it's a great idea and we think we can make it great, but it needs to taste more like Pepsi." And I didn't want to hear it. I was rolling the thing out nationally and I didn't listen to them. In hindsight, Novak says one of the big reasons for the soda's failure was the taste. He learned from the failure too and says that going forward, he started listening more to employee input. Total mystery. While consumers had been groomed to associate brown with soda, it's entirely possible the right kind of marketing could have made us change our collective minds and think clear cola was pretty revolutionary. But according to Kyle Murray, professor of marketing at the University of Alberta, that's another key mistake made in the Crystal Pepsi rollout. No one bothered to explain why we needed a clear cola. The commercials didn't help. The Super Bowl launch ad is a sequel of sorts to Van Halen's iconic Right Now music video, and it also features the song. It's full of vaguely inspirational statements, but little about why consumers should try the beverage. Unclear ingredients. By the time Crystal Pepsi hit shelves, people were starting to move away from sugary, heavy soft drinks. Pepsi wanted consumers to think of Crystal Pepsi as a healthier option.
You're really pushing this new Crystal
That's from the
Pepsi.
original video.
What makes it different from every other soft drink?
But as this training video makes clear, they didn't have much to work with.
It's actually a crystal clear cola
Look
with
at me.
100% natural ingredients, no preservatives, no caffeine.
That may be true, but Crystal Pepsi was also filled with high fructose corn syrup, just like regular Pepsi, and only had 20 fewer calories per 12-ounce can than the full-strength stuff. That's hardly a Diet Cola, and there were already caffeine-free versions of Pepsi's cola products available. What was the point?
When they brought it
Soda
back, it was so popular.
sabotage.
Here we go.
When Pepsi came out with Crystal Pepsi, they sunk a huge amount of money into rolling out a new product. According to marketing expert Stephen Denny's book, Killing Giants, Coca-Cola saw that as an opportunity to sabotage Pepsi and do some damage to its bottom line. Coca-Cola marketing guru Sergio Zyman realized, a way to ambush Crystal Pepsi is to do a kamikaze on them, commit suicide, and kill them in the process. This was achieved by releasing Tab Clear, an unexciting sugar-free diet drink meant to make consumers think Crystal Pepsi was also an unexciting sugar-free diet drink. It was only on the market for a few months before it sank, and it dragged Crystal Pepsi down with it.
So they put out an intentionally bad product.
When Pepsi first brought Crystal Pepsi back in 2016, Business Insider reports that it didn't just sell out, it sold out fast. Why? Nostalgia for the 90s was a big part of it. The American Marketing Association says the round 2 success of Crystal Pepsi was because it was a curious relic of the 90s, and it was marketed successfully the second time around. Fans took to Twitter to talk about how they were rediscovering part of their youth, even going as far as calling Crystal Pepsi liquid history. It's more than a little ironic, considering how the product originally flopped because so many people just didn't know what to make of it. Add a few decades into the equation, let the confusion become nostalgia, and you finally have a winning formula. Thanks for watching. Click the mashed icon.
Yeah, so
There you go.
so Coke puts out an intentionally bad product.
Isn't that crazy?
And so what it means is in the supermarket, you got people saying, oh, like, what's with, like, have you had that Tab or Crystal Pepsi? Like, what's with that? You know, like, then they're talking wrong about it, right? The other thing that I find when I look at Crystal Pepsi, when I look at that, it looks to me like tonic water or like just sparkling water.
Well,
It doesn't look like it's got flavor because it doesn't have a color. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, but somehow Sprite, you know, because it's got that citrusy vibe to it, like we've all You know, like we understand that to be clear looking, but like,
well, it's a
looking
different
at,
taste than.
I get that whole thing where Pepsi didn't do a good job of justifying, okay, it's gone clear now. It almost seems like you've taken all the good stuff out, right? So that's why it's weird. But I think that's the thing that struck me right away.
So I thought it was at least interesting just to follow up on that because of finding out that Coke had sabotaged.
Yeah.
It was just
Well, also,
crazy.
you know what we didn't talk about last week was how, so this 90s, there's a lot of 90s nostalgia right now and 80s nostalgia still. Like there's a lot of that stuff right now that's going on because all of us have grown up and we're all longing for the years of our childhood. And so, and we're also, you know, of marketable
all the
buying
people
age,
that
right?
were born. Yeah, we're born.
Exactly. So the thing that's really interesting about that is that, you know, we kind of prop up these products just because of that nostalgia factor. And we didn't get a chance to talk about this last week, but the Szechuan sauce that came out at McDonald's. So for anybody who doesn't know the story, the movie Mulan came out in the 90s, late 90s, and McDonald's did, as they do a lot with Disney, a brand partnership with Mulan to put out toys for Happy Meals, et cetera, et cetera. They had a couple different branded drinks and things like that, right? Well, one of the things they put out was a new sandwich of some kind. I can't remember what it was, but and correct me on that. But the new food that they put out involved a sauce called this Mulan sauce or Mulan Szechuan sauce, and people in the 90s loved this Szechuan style sauce so much at McDonald's, they bought it up like crazy, but it was only in existence for like a short period of time during the Mulan campaign, right? And then in the 90s, it went away and everybody was clamoring saying, oh, like it's gone forever, this Szechuan sauce. Well, only a couple of years ago, McDonald's did a 90s throwback re-release of the Mulan Szechuan sauce. And McDonald's restaurants, they had lines down the block. They had people jumping across the counter to actually steal the big things of sauce. The sauce was going for thousands of dollars per jug on eBay. Like online, it was going for thousands of dollars per jug because of the power of nostalgia. So interesting to hear that Clear Pepsi, like it did this nostalgia thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? You'll see more stuff that was failed come back for that very reason. I guarantee you.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Leo Da Silva in the chat. Thanks for dropping in, and he's saying hello to everybody. And it's very nice of you to say hello. We have one more video for today, and then we'll just do a quick wrap up. But I just found this cool video of a company. You know, when you think of electric cars, which I've always kind of been very interested in, and I've was very interested in the story of the business guy Elon Musk, and who actually went to Queens in her hometown, and
he did
Queens University for a little bit, and you know, pretty fascinating guy. Cool. But when you think of electric cars, you think of him. But one of his goals is that Tesla, other companies start. He kind of, I guess, one of the altruistic goals that he has for the company is to start the advent of you know, electric cars being a lot more present, and pushing you know, the car market into becoming electric faster than it would if he wasn't around. Anyways, one company that's come out I think of sort of that wake is an electric company called Canoe, or if the car might be called Canoe, like spelled like a canoe, like paddle the canoe. Well, no, it's spelled CANOO, and it's actually taking the electric car but then putting it into a subscription model, where it's kind of like
Netflixy.
Yeah, like streaming or like Netflix or whatever, and they'll drop off a car, and then you basically don't cover any of the maintenance
and they make their own cars.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up this video.
They actually manufacture their own.
And it gives a nice little explanation. They got on the Jay Leno car garage show, and because Jay Leno has so many cars, right? He has a garage and he has a YouTube show where he will review cars. And
I do love it. It's fun to watch this stuff.
Yeah. So let's watch this. You have your headphone on?
Yeah, for sure.
It's not sharing yet.
Well, I mean, what's cool about that is that, I mean, obviously Tesla's had a lot of delays and hangups because they're trying to get all these cars to market because
Yeah.
they're manufacturing them for purchase, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But one of the things that this company has, they could make a bunch of them and just rent basically.
I like the
subscription,
twist
rent them
on
out.
the
Yeah.
business model, and they'll explain why they think that sort of all the expenses of buying a car are kind of hidden to younger buyers.
Sure.
It's harder to enter that market, and so this is kind of an interesting twist on that.
Right.
Again, it's less effort to drive than a gas car. I mean, I'm not shifting gears. I'm not, you know.
It's quiet.
I mean, I'm talking to you. I'm quite not raising my voice.
Just kind of
People
cool,
think
man.
because you like old cars, that, oh, you must hate new technology. I don't. I find it fascinating.
Yeah, I think both can live together.
Oh, exactly.
That one was kind of wild looking.
I'm here in Torrance, California, a company called Canoe. One of the founders is a man named Phil Weicker. He's full of ideas. We'll find out. Phil, how are you, my friend?
Great, Jay. Good to see you
So
again.
what are we going to do here today?
We've been working on something really exciting for the last couple of years. Why don't you come in and meet some people and see what we've been up to?
Let's check it out.
Wow.
Okay,
This
so
is
you're a
sweet.
car company. You're building cars, but they're not cars people actually buy. Is that correct?
That's right. They're by subscription only.
So that means I would have the car for a certain amount of time, like it's subscribing to a magazine or something. I would get it from X to a certain period.
Yeah, we'll deliver it when you need it. We'll pick it up when you don't, and we'll take care of anything that comes up along the way.
Okay, so any maintenance involving the car, any trouble with the car, it just disappears. You bring me another one? Is that how?
That's right.
So the car is not a personal item. I could not personalize this car in any way, right? It's just the way I would use a refrigerator or a washer. It becomes like an appliance sort of thing.
Like
I think that's a good way of
Netflix and
looking
car
at
wheels
it.
Pushed together.
Yeah.
And this is the car right here.
This is it.
Okay.
I'd like to introduce you to one of my colleagues and co-founders, Richard Kim.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Like the
Oh, just wait till you see
Well,
it.
it's fascinating. It certainly
It's
looks
just
like
a
a
very
feature. It almost
different
looks
way
like,
of-
you know, back in the 30s, they did a lot of the Stout Scarab
Kinda looks
and a
like
few
the
other
VW bus,
vehicles
kinda.
like this, which were, well, their version of people movers, they used to call them back in the day. And you could take, like, how many does this seat?
It actually seats 7.
Okay.
So this car is, we think, perfect for city use. So it's a very small footprint, but huge on the inside.
So it's electric.
Yeah.
Full electric.
Okay, all-wheel drive, two-wheel drive?
Rear-wheel drive.
Rear-wheel drive,
Rear-wheel
yeah.
drive, okay. And obviously
Well,
you
it's
can go
better in
highway
warmer
speeds
places,
as well.
but-
if
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
They'll start in
Definitely.
cities and stuff.
Now, as a subscriber, do I drive the car myself, or is there a driver included with the car?
Well, you'll have to supply your own driver.
Oh, okay, I see, okay. Now, is this
These guys are dry.
aerodynamically
Yeah.
efficient, or?
For the shape, it's actually, the aerodynamics performs quite well, mostly for
feel like
city
they've been
and lower
tested.
speeds. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
so
works
aerodynamics
perfectly.
don't really.
Well, it doesn't apply as
right,
much.
right. So you know, okay,
Right.
okay. Now the subscription part I find fascinating because I'm a guy I like to own things, and you know, but I'm the older generation. I think younger people look at vehicles not so much as a personal item they're attached to as just something to get around. Is
Yeah.
it fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, we still see that owning cars and enjoying cars, there's still obviously a market for that. But there's actually a big piece of the market that wants just a really nice way to get from point A to point B.
Plus,
smart.
I've always felt that in
Taking
the
that piece of the
future,
pie.
your Ferrari, your
Don't wanna
Lamborghini,
deal with
your
the headaches
MG,
of
that'll be like a snowmobile.
maintaining a
You use
car
them on
or-
weekends, maybe to go up to the hills. But during
Right.
the week with congestion and whatnot, you don't want to sit in traffic in a car like
Well,
this.
it's like
So
they have
this would be
rideshare
your
Yeah.
companies,
weekly
but this
transportation
I think
pod.
the
so to
subscription
speak,
situation
just
is
to
a little
get you to
different than
work,
those.
get to the store, that type of thing.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, okay. Now, is it autonomous as well?
It does have autonomous features, that's for sure. We call it something like a level 2.5 out of the 5 number ranking system.
But I see that you have a steering wheel and controls for a driver because I think for the foreseeable
Larry?
future,
Look at this. Is so
autonomous
future.
vehicles will have to have some sort of human driver behind the wheel, right? Even if it is autonomous. Because, you know, over the years, I've seen people come in with thinking there's no controls of any kind.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just getting, well, same reason I don't get on a plane that has no pilot. Hey, wait a minute! hey! You know, so I think that's very clever that you've sort of incorporated the realistic
cool steering wheel
fact of
section too.
laws are laws. You
Yeah.
know? What is your range, do you know?
250 miles is
Okay.
what we're targeting.
Okay. So it's standard
Not bad
electric
for the shape of
technology.
it.
in
Yeah,
especially
terms
for
of
the city.
lithium-ion
Definitely
water-cooled battery.
not as
Standard motor,
aerodynamic
okay,
as
that
like
type
the
of thing.
Teslas are. and
Sure.
stuff.
I guess the whole
But that's going for a different
uniqueness
Yeah.
is in the subscription part and then the seating arrangement. Would it be fair to say?
Yeah, we did 2 bold things. One is it's a very unique design. It's radical. but very rational at the same time. And then the subscription model. So those are two things we took a bold step.
Can we take a look at the interior?
Yeah, let's take a look at the inside. So what you see here is
Isn't that
really
weird?
a different experience than any other car on the road.
Actually kind of 50s,
we
you
consider
know?
this
There's
more
something
like
really
a little loft on wheels.
mid-century
Now,
about it.
I assume this here is for safety reasons.
Yeah, there are things
Because
that, yeah.
whenever I see Peterbilt cars of the future, this is missing, the doors open this way for all this space, but they haven't thought about crash protection and rollover and all the other things, which you obviously have done.
right, yeah.
So what you have here, this one for a ride?
Yeah, let's do it.
They go for a drive,
Yeah.
and then he kind of explains.
Well, I gotta admit, it's very comfortable back here. You got all kinds of leg room. I'm trying to get this subscription thing. When you buy a car, maybe you drive it off the lot, it depreciates what? At least a third.
Right
in
away.
most cases.
Yeah. The true cost of ownership of a vehicle,
Right.
it's not really, communicated well.
Right.
You have down payments and registration and stuff like that.
So the idea here,
That's a fair concept,
as
and
a
there's a big barrier
subscription,
to entry on that.
I just sign up, I
Especially for
pay
millennials and Gen Z.
$300, $400, $500 a month, but that's insurance, that's everything.
Everything.
There's no down payment.
Smart.
I don't owe a big chunk of money at the end of the subscription period. You just, whatever you subscribed it for, that's it. Is that right? Have I got that right?
It's just like you described it. It's all inclusive, no down payment, no commitment. Right. Many of these programs, even a lease, you're stuck with them for a long time. Or if you buy a car, right as you drive off the lot, it tanks in value. So we see this as makes sense.
Let's say I come to LA to do a movie for 4 months. I could sign up, get a 4-month subscription, have the car for 4 months.
They're probably filming.
The day
right?
I go
They're
back to New England or wherever I'm from, I just give the car back and you walk away.
That's right. Yeah. So simple, so easy. So
no wear and tear, no mileage charge, no nothing. Okay, that's pretty cool. I mean,
So anyways, I thought that was really fascinating.
Well, it kind of makes sense because, in all kinds of industries, and why are cars any different? Like, take the music industry, for instance, and we were just talking about something similar earlier, but when it comes to streaming, the way that we got out of the digital download crisis, really, of free downloads was by making it sort of just inconvenient to download stuff for free.
True.
We changed the way that we store music, or frankly don't store music, to make it so that it's not even a thing to do. It's not that streamlined anymore to actually go and download a bunch of files on your computer for free. So it's just actually that much easier to pay a subscription per month to stream music, right? And
you're not taking up space.
We're not taking up space. We actually don't own it. Whereas it wasn't long ago. I mean, when we were young, we were going out buying CDs. We actually brought something home. We owned it, right? And there is a thing to that. But the music industry is very much wrapped around not owning, but just always being always having it available to listen. Yeah. And that's where cloud computing comes from and stuff too. So why not cars differently? Because yes, I mean, I'm a car guy. I absolutely love cars. I like owning cars. I love, we grew up as car guys. It's fun to be able to do that. But not everybody is in that position, and certainly not everybody cares that much.
Yeah,
right? So why not just have something that's always
just
available?
don't care. They don't have.
I like owning a record, but
don't have as much of a desire to have all that expense and stuff.
Yeah, and there's no
but there's no option right now, so that's why I thought it was cool.
And in fairness, you know what? Maybe we've someday down the road, you have sort of the fun car, as Jay Leno was saying, you have the fun car for the weekend that you actually do own. But if something like that was available here, where it's a subscription car model, I'd think about it, especially if the price is right.
Yeah,
something like that could be cool.
Yeah.
Now the Canadian market's tough because you got lots of weather.
You got to have four-wheel drive.
You got to have four-wheel drive. There's a few things like that in the electric car market that are still coming along that you'll see more and more. But I'm seeing Teslas everywhere.
Well, I mean, they are all-wheel drive, I believe. So.
I think so, yeah. So, or at least they, like a lot of them.
But they're different. They're high performing, and they are more expensive because of that. And and you have to own them. And
something like that's going to take off in San Francisco, though.
I think,
and then California, and then elsewhere.
Obviously, there's lots of startups that don't come to fruition, but I thought that at least their rationale for being different and their business model seemed to make sense with the way that things have been going.
They seem a ways
I
down
thought
the
it was
road.
at least interesting to showed to everybody else. It piqued my interest. And anyways,
good luck to you guys.
We really appreciate you guys joining us this week. I want to actually throw out there that if anybody has any interesting videos or content that that they'd like us to react to, you can drop that in the chat.
Send it to us
at some point, or you can send it to our Instagram. Hopefully we'll see it Instagram or Twitter or you know what I mean? So you can DM us or put it in the chat, and then obviously we'll just take a look at it to make sure that it's not gonna get us in trouble.
Well, we can't pick everything, but if you throw in that,
no, it'd be fun. And then
on that,
you can come and watch us and see how, or afterwards, and see how we react to your thing.
Send us videos you want us to react to, but also I was gonna say, if anybody has certain things, the questions they have about us, off-road, on-road, we come up with these things like the stories of us.
We try to think of things that are interesting, but if there's
dead
something,
malls, when we covered dead malls a few weeks ago, like things like that from being on the road. But there's lots of things that we do on the road or don't do on the road that we really don't think about as interesting for people.
That's true.
But you know what? Maybe you guys have some ideas of, give us your top 5, whatever. And we'll kind of take suggestions and maybe we'll pick
and add it into our list of stuff that pique our interest or anything. So anyways, we really appreciate you guys joining us. This was episode 12 of Off-Road.
12.
We are really having a good time doing this. And you have any final thoughts, John?
I love it. Can you believe 12 weeks?
We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And we hopefully will see you live next week. All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.